Good evening, happy Saturday, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I can see there's a few of you already over there waiting in the live chat. I genuinely didn't think that there was going to be anybody watching live this evening because of the last minute changes to the running of the show. So thanks very much for coming along and joining in and being with me here on this Saturday. I've got Leslie, good evening, hi Leslie, and oi oi from Jeff Lacey. Hello, how are you doing? I've been really poorly the last couple of days and still am not 100% right now. So yesterday, I'm really sorry, I just couldn't deliver my usual standard, which isn't the best standard in the world, but I love doing what I do and I like to be on form. I had no energy last couple of days. Yeah, I could feel it in my voice. I'm still really struggling. Don't worry, I don't have the dreaded COVID. At least I don't think I do anyway. I've been doing all the tests. I've been being really safe and stuff. I'm just really tired and I don't know why. I'm just absolutely shattered. I went out for a walk down to the shops this morning and I wish I hadn't. But otherwise, I think I'm on the mend. But just to make sure, I brought along an early drink. Why not? Cheers! Happy Saturday! That's actually the first bit of wine I've had in a long time. So we've got Keslin has just joined us. Hi Keslin, thanks for coming along, mate. Leslie says, you're most welcome, dude, and I'm sorry to hear that you've been unwell. Yeah, it happens every now and then, doesn't it? We all get a bit poorly. I sent myself home from work on Thursday, took the Friday off as well, and slept so much, and I'm not one of those people that likes to sleep an awful lot. I can't do naps, even at the grand age of 40. I just can't do them. But clearly I needed something. So, yeah, haven't been doing an awful lot of hobby stuff. Felt absolutely gutted that I wasn't doing the show yesterday. Left it right up to the last minute before he could even put anything up online. I was like, you know what, I just can't do this. So I put up a little post. And everything's been a little bit trying to catch up. And I've just been reading the little YouTube description, which I also copy over and put into Facebook. And it says, there's a little surprise. There isn't. That's a lie. I copied and pasted from last week's show and in my ill state missed that one, so I'm really sorry. Surprise! There's no surprise. However, we are going to be getting on to, or I'm going to be getting on to a couple of other new bits and pieces today. I feel like I'm making progress on the tank because it's been a long time coming, but we're getting somewhere. I don't know if I actually have to touch the airbrush today, but I just spent the last hour cleaning it out because there was a little clog in there. I've had it sat in isopropyl alcohol for about a week. Just because I could. It doesn't damage it. It's absolutely fine to leave it in. In fact, if anything, it did it the world of good. And inside the little paint chamber, right inside where you can't normally get into clean, there was like a little bit of gunky paint coming out. So with a needle, I teased it out, and just layers and layers of gunky old paint was coming out. Some colours that I haven't used for a long time. So it just goes to show that from all the time that I hadn't been cleaning it out properly, I'm still playing catch up with that. So that's working fine, but I don't think I need to touch it today. I would love to know what you guys are up to. So I've got itchy nose. I would love to know what you guys are up to this evening. This is a painting club. It's not a tutorial. If you're new here, just let us know what it is that you're up to this evening. Just come along for a bit of chit chat. Just listen to the music in the background and not my voice, or see what I'm doing. But if you are doing something this evening, let us know over there. Or if you're watching it retrospectively, or if you just don't like live chat, put it down there in the comment section. We'd love to know what it is that you're painting. So yeah, if you like what we do here on Easy 8, as always, you can find us on any of the platforms here at the bottom. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're also here on YouTube, obvs. So you can follow us, you can like us, you can share. Please share Easy 8's name, and of course you can always subscribe to the channel. Would really help me out. Yeah, if we get cut off like we did last week, that was a shame, wasn't it? If we do get cut off, if you hit the bell icon just down there somewhere, it will let you know straight away when I'm doing another show, which I think most of my live viewers actually have done that now, because as soon as I have to make another video and start all over again, everyone comes on over straight away. So yeah, do that. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, you know what you're doing. Anyway, cool. Keston says, painting cars for Gaslands. Yeah, last Monday, man. Last Monday was epic coolness personified, dude. Yeah, had like the whole gang over, bar a couple of friends who weren't able to make it, but that's always the case, isn't it? Yeah, had loads of friends over, to my house. Kesslin was one of them. Hi, Kesslin. And we played Gaslands, which is just a fantastically fun and easy game. We had wicked fun. It was nice to have everyone together more than anything. We haven't had the whole gang back together since the beginning of the pandemic and all of those lockdowns here in the UK. So it was really nice to hear everyone laughing and being in the same room. So thanks for coming along to my house and being a part of that. And thanks for bringing some joy into the walls again. But Gaslands was great. I took a tiny little shoebox of a car against people who were taking tanks and monster trucks, and to no surprise I died. But it was great fun. I would like to actually do some work, like a bit of project on Gasland stuff on this show, but of course, as I said a little while ago, and going into series 2, volume 2, series 2, whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to focus on a project, try and get it done, try and get through the backlog as to what this show is all about, and then once we've gone through there, then sure, let's bring some Gaslands projects to the workbench. That would be cool. But I've seen some of your pictures. Put them up on Facebook, Guess, because they're looking really cool. The war rig, the big lorry, that looks cool, man. Leslie says, getting some drum tracks made for more music recording this evening, making an epic prog song with my friend, which has many parts to it. Oh, well, the very best of luck to you on your music endeavours. More wine's going to be one of those evenings. My teeth are going to turn green before the end of the show. Toothpastey. Right. So, what am I doing this evening? Well, as we know that there's no surprise, I'm going to be just cracking on with the Panther. Let's take you over to the workbench. Got a bit of wine bubbling in my throat. So, here she is. She's looking a bit shiny today, isn't she? Do ask why. Why? It's because I've glossed her. Because at this point I'm going to be moving into doing pin washing, a little bit of weathering and grime work, and I'm also going to be putting on decals. And all of those parts of this project are going to be a lot easier with an application of gloss paint. Basically, for those of you who don't know, as most of you probably do, gloss paint is a thick, on a microscopic level anyway, or a really, really tiny level, is it basically a really thick layer of clear resin, and what it's going to do is it basically fills in all the little recesses, all the tiny, and those are microscopic. Oh, Dave Lester, evening all. Hi Dave, thanks for coming along, mate. Thanks for joining the show on a Saturday. I genuinely didn't think we were going to have anyone on the Saturday, but thanks very much for coming along. Yeah, it's basically it fills out all the microscopic dents and bumps and holes and whatever, and basically makes a really, really, as shiny as it can, smooth surface for you to be kind of putting paint or decals, etc. on. And it allows things to kind of move around a bit easier. It gives you a lot more control over it, especially when it comes to things like pin washing and things like that. So that's going to be really beneficial. So tonight I'm going to be really focusing on getting this German vehicle's dark yellow wash from AK. I've used it before. I've actually used it on this tank. When I first did all of the modulation colours for the yellow colour, as you can see that a lot of there's some details that are standing out, all kind of pin lined in already. That's just because I didn't really know what I was doing. I did know what I was doing. I think I was just excited and rushing it all. But I only did the front. As you can see, there's nothing really on the back. I did a bit on the turret, a bit on the front, and a lot of it I've gone back over again anyway with more yellow, touching it all up, did a bit of camouflage work, and that's covered it all up. So this is going to go over the top. For a couple of weeks I've been concerned, should I get a different colour, because this is designed for the yellow on the German colours. Should I use different colours on the green and the red? Do you know what? I'm just going to do it all in one colour because it's been sat on the workbench for so long. I just kind of want to get a colour on there and do it. And to be honest, with all these different colours and all the grime and everything going on, the different colours should be kind of lost. At my level of painting, I'm not that great, so excuse me. It should just be fine, right? And then we're going to be moving on to the decal set. Very, very nice looking decals here from Tamiya. We've basically got a couple of different number sets that I can use, so it depends on what Panzer division, etc. that I want it to be. Do I want it to be Panzer 301? I don't know if you can see those really in the light. There you go, they're like hollow numbers. And I've got this blockier number over here. These are for the sides of the turret, this one's for the back of the turret. I could be Panzer 302 in red, which is quite nice. I don't know how they will stand out, maybe the white ones will stand out quite nice. Or I can be Panzer 413. yeah, I don't know which ones yet. I thought I'd let you guys decide. Leslie says she's looking really good. I don't know why I said really good. I just put that word in there for you, like sensationalizing what you're saying and your compliments to me. Sorry, Bal, but thank you very much anyway. She's looking really good. Wow, cheers. Got a couple of little, I think they're kill markings, little pictures of tanks up here. If I can bring those up, and you can see the light. Yeah, makes sense. Can't find those in the instructions, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with them. And then I've got some iron crosses, or I think they're called the Balkan cross. And then these ones here, they've got little chamfer taken out the top of them. If I bring that up closer again, you can see here. Notice how the tops of these crosses here are full, but these ones are not. Basically, they go on the front. And I didn't know this about Panthers. A lot of the tanks I've been painting for bolt action, the markings kind of go here. Well, that's on the Tigers at least anyway, but on the Panther they'll go here, so just on this edge here. So this particular cross on the right hand side will go here because the chamfer kind of goes down that way, not really showing very well. And then there'll be another one on this side, but I've got these little tool frames kind of in the way, which I didn't think about when I was making the whole tank. So that's going to be a fiasco. That's going to be interesting. Since writing up the schedule for the show, I put on there, I don't know which ones I was going to do. Should I put these on first and then do the pin washing? Oh, should I do the pin washing and then should I do the decals? I think what I'm going to do is do these first because... Sorry, yeah, no, I should do the... Oh, excuse me, should do these first because then the pin washing, if it's going to go over them at all, will go over the top of the decals. Struggling to get my words out. Told you I'm not very well. Yeah, so... I'm going to do this after having a go with these. So, I don't know which number to choose. It does say on the old instrucciones here, it just tells me that, for example, that 301 is the 9th Panzer Division. I don't know much about each of the Panzer divisions. There's a lot of information on quite a few of them because they were well recorded, and I think that the Panzer division is just denoted by the colours and the way that the numbers are actually done. So like 302, for example, is red with the white outline. 301 is just white, then 413 black with a white outline. So yeah, I mean, the numbers do mean different things, but that doesn't really matter. You can see that I was writing some notes at home. I don't really know what was happening on Tuesday the 16th at 3 PM, but it was definitely warranted writing it down somewhere. Apologies. Yeah, and then you can see the little cross goes at the front here, the little iron cross. There goes one on the back, on the backs of these little containers, fuel tanks maybe, on the back here. So one will go there. One there, and then the number on the left, on the right of the turret, and then one on the rear. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So I'm just going to kind of get stuck into those right now and just get this party started. I am a bit nervous about getting these crosses on here, but hey, we've got some stuff to help us along the way. Some products I've talked about before, but I've never used on the show. Not that I can remember, at least, and I was recommending them to some people. So, I have got here a couple of products called Microset and Microsol. These are made by Microscale Industries Inc. You can buy these on any platform really. You can buy them from online shops, you can buy them from Amazon. Just buy them from your preferred place of purchasing. They do other products for working with decals. I bought these on a pinch because someone on a Facebook forum group thing suggested them to me, and I really like them. I use the red one, which is Microsol, for softening up the decal, and then I use Microset, the blue one, for solidifying and setting the item. So solvent, setting basically, and it says on the front of this one, a setting solution for decals, softens decals to conform to irregular surfaces for a painted on look, and it works astonishingly well. Then there's Microset, which also says setting solution for decals, softens decals and improves adhesion, and is also good as a decal remover. Basically any kind of elbow grease, even slightly, is a really good way for removing your decals, so you have to be very delicate. What I do is I make sure that the area is dust free, and then I basically put a layer of this down. I get my decal, prepare it in the way that you always would, in a little bit of water, and then kind of brush it on. Having a little layer of this on there helps you kind of move it around and kind of get it set in place, whilst it's also being soaked in this chemical itself. It does smell quite strong. If you don't have a well ventilated room, do it in a well ventilated room, or wear a mask. I don't think they're that harmful, but it does smell pretty strong. One of them is stronger than the other. It smells like really, really cheap salt and vinegar crisps. It's the only way I can describe it, which can't be good. And basically what this does is it really softens down the membrane, whatever that material is that these decals are printed on, that kind of slightly opaque material. It really softens it down, and it's really easy to tear, so you've got to be careful. What it does is it kind of melts it, because I think it's like a plastic, and it's obviously something. If you put poly cement, for example, on polystyrene, it melts, and I think it has a very similar property, just on probably a much smaller scale. And yeah, basically allows it to melt and then bend around really awkward shapes like bolts or other details and things that are on here. It's particularly good for working with space marine pauldrons, because those curves that curve in a semi-sphere are notoriously difficult to get very flat two-dimensional objects onto. Anyway, let's have a little drink of that. So Jeff, the old man there, is saying 301. You reckon 301, really? Do you know what? If that's what you think, let's go for it. You bought it after all. It was a present. So I'm going to get a little bit of water. Just going to get it in my little palette here. I'm just going to put a little drop, or just a couple of drops in here. There we go. Lovely. And then I'm just going to cut him out. I say him, could be a her, who knows. My little scalpel. So Dave has obviously joined us this evening. Haven't seen you, Dave, on the show for a long time. Obviously you were here on Monday. We were just talking about gas lines just before you joined us. Thanks for coming along last Monday. It was absolutely brilliant. It was really good to see you again. Hope that you're going to come up sometime soon in the near future. Who knows? Would love to know if you're painting something this evening, Dave, and let us know what it is and what you're doing and how we, the community, can help. If you need help, you might not need help at all. You might be like, actually, shut up. Just let me get on with it. But that's fine. So I am now just trying to find a nice brush to work with here. I've got a couple of my usual painting brushes. I've got my little army painter brush here. I've also got, buried under other paintbrushes, my Raphael Kalinsky brush. And I'm looking for a good brush that's going to help me put this on. I've also got some cheap, but because they're unused, some good quality brushes that my dad gave me. Thanks, Dad. Just in a pile of stuff that might have been useful that wasn't to him. So I don't know which one is going to be the best. This one's nice and fluffy, and okay, maybe I don't need fluffy. I got the hiccups, so I apologise. Just excited to be on the show after a day away from it. So this one's going to go on here, and I'm going to have a little look on the turret picture and see roughly where it goes. Now if I have a close look, let me just get my brushes out so I can point with them. So here, it looked like that they were rivets, but actually it is the camouflage style, the odd colour dots in there. If I have a look at the side of the turret, there are no rivets. I was going to use rivets as a little marker. So it just tells me that it's slightly to the right of centre on that side panel. So yeah, basically get it on where it looks good, right? Get it on where it looks good. Jeff says, don't listen to anything I say. Too late, it's going in. 301's in there. Leslie says, your tank is looking killer already. He/it is going to look epic when those decals are done. Yeah, I really hope so. I'm really excited to get the decals on, because that's another part of that character. Get all that pin washing done, which is going to be a grind, unfortunately, but that's the way pin washing goes. And yeah, really looking forward to getting the grime and the weathering on. And then it's just a few steps to the end. Just trying to soak that in some water there. 301. From what division is 301? 301 is 9th Panzer Division, tank number 301. Or if Chris is watching, Panzer Nummer 1 und Oh no, I can't remember. 301. Yeah. Chris was obviously on last week. It was really exciting to have a guest on the show again. It's been a while since we've done that. That's great. Chris, if you're watching this retrospectively, because I believe you're not watching it right now, thanks for coming along on the show last week. It was great. It was really nice. So, I'm one of those people that likes to pull the decals out without having a little piece of paper underneath. It does get me some problems, but for some reason, I just find it a little bit easier. So here we go. Not just yet though, because I haven't got my microsole on. Yeah, I don't know why. I give it a shake, but it doesn't need it. So I'm just going to dip my brush in it straight out of the pot, and I'm just going to be quite liberal and just slap a load of it on here. You can see where I'm putting it on here. Just trying to shine it in the light because obviously it's a clear liquid. I think it was Kess that I was talking about this in the past. I think you actually went and bought some, didn't you? I'd love to know how you actually got on with it. There we go. And I'm going to keep that open with my brush just on the side there because it is going to be handy to have in a minute. I'm going to basically saturate it in this stuff. Struggling to get it out of the water now. Come on now. Stop showing me up in front of the world. Down a bit, perhaps? Yeah, down a bit. Just going to line it up a little bit. So, like a wonky picture on your wall. What do we think? That looks okay, doesn't it? Dave says, I'm cooking tea and relaxing after a long day at work. Ah, thanks for thinking of me after a long day at work. That's great. Thanks for coming along and supporting me. So, microsole straight on the top. What I'm going to try and do now without slipping it, which is very easy to do still, it is just trying to basically flatten it down and melt the surface so that when it dries, it'll be very, very thin and you won't be able to see the edges. Behave yourself. Ooh, feeling the pressure, feeling the tension. Oh, it's moving around some now, isn't it? Come on now. There we go. So what I'm going to do now, just to help a little bit, I'm going to dry that off. Got a little bit of tissue, and there's obviously a lot of runaway on the surface here. Trying to not move the decal. Just some gentle patting. Kessin, oh, other comments going in. Jeff says, I am painting a house, not a model. This one, I think the one I live in. I'm so bored. Kessin says, it worked great, but it did not look completely painted on. That could have been down to me. Leslie says, wow, 'tis all I can say. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, man. Yeah, Kes, go back to your problem about it not looking painted on. I don't want to say, hey, it was definitely you. I've had mixed results with this as I've learned to use it. And I've had some better results than others. And the better results I've had is just taking my time, really long time, and then just constantly applying more and more of this. And then when I apply like a coat of varnish or a couple of coats of varnish in some cases on afterwards, you can never ever see the outline of these. And the more busy the model is, the easier it is to hide it in there as well. And as you can see with this particular one here, it looks pretty frosty. But if now hiding it under here, under this, you can barely see it. In fact, it's actually easier for me to see it on the camera than it is with a naked eye. So the camera's picking it up better than me. Jeff says, I think the 9th Panther Division was late war SS Division. Could be wrong though. Interesting. I'm really interested in all that sort of stuff, so perhaps that's something I'll have a little look at later on. Really being my first tank, I'm not really all that concerned about what division it's in. I just kind of want something that looks fun, you know, nice as a model. Let's go to micro set. This stuff is going to help it solidify and set a little bit. I'm just going to prepare that on the side there. I want to keep on applying a little bit of this micro sol to it just to help dissolve it, if that is the right word. And as I've patted that tissue on it, it's left a slight texture in it, which I bet is very difficult to see. And that is the effect of the microsole having an effect on anything that's thin plastic on here. So the actual material of the tank itself probably won't be affected, but the paint layers on there will be to a very slight degree, and obviously that very thin and fresh layer of decal will be affected, and it's basically just making it really, really thin, really thin. A bit more sole. I'm just trying to be careful because I don't want, especially now it's starting to dry and adhere, I don't want to move it, because if I did, it will probably be disastrous and I would probably tear it. And I've only got one chance with these, and if I ruin one of them, then I've got to change the number on both sides. And we won't be doing 9th Division anymore. So I'm literally just kind of patting it on. It's really fun, it's really therapeutic. Once you get past that initial of putting the decal on, this one hasn't gone on completely straight, look, but whatever. It's my first one. I have done worse. Can barely see where that decal is. Again, under the lights and on the camera there, showing up a lot better than it is with the naked eye. So, wash my brush off. I think it is the micro set that is the stronger of the two chemicals in terms of smell, because it smells like crisps in here now. It's weird. It's a weird stuff. Bit of tissue on here. Should absorb that excess. Now, I am working quite crudely out of the pot here, but it is important to wash the two chemicals out of the brushes that you're using, because I don't want to be putting one into the other, because you don't know what that's going to do. So here we go with a little bit of set. Now to the naked eye, the edges of that water slide decal are completely hidden. I cannot see it at all. And what I will do later on is I'll give it a layer of gloss varnish, maybe 2, to kind of help level out the what is essentially a microscopic level between basically the edges of this decal are. I will hide it and then a layer of matte over the top, and hopefully you should never even be able to tell. It's a wonderful set of chemicals. I don't like using the word chemicals, it sounds nasty. Products. Right, let that dry for a minute. And I'm going to wash out my brushes because I think I should. Keep them clean and free from stuff. And a sip of wine. Mop that little bit up down there. You can just tell on the camera, can't you? It's quite noticeable on there actually. But even still, it's not that bad when you think about it. They're also just really good quality decals as well, so the actual material itself is really quite thin. Wonderful. I'm really happy with that. That's a good start. Could have gone a little bit straighter, but I had that little slip halfway through. That's fine. again, just quickly mop up any excess, and then I'm going to go one more with the set. I might come back in a bit and put another layer of sole on, micro sole, and then come back in with more set. Basically it's all good until I cover it all over with varnish, because once you put a layer of varnish over the top, it's all done. Look at that, 301, 9th Panzer Division. Lovely, lovely. Right, while that's just kind of doing its thing, sat over there and not running around everywhere, because it is just a very thin layer, that one, I'm going to cut out my next 301. Let's move you. Don't know why I'm using tweezers, just going to use my finger there, it's just water. Where is my decal sheet? Here it is. 301. Pardon me. Oh, I do have the hiccups today. Remember kids, scalpels are dead sharp. They use them in operating theatres. If you're young or don't feel very confident using one, get someone to help you, like a parent who can cut their own fingers off, because it will happen very easily with those. Using tweezers again for water, don't know why, but the next one's in, yeah. And this one is going to go on the other side. Here's an interesting fact. Running your finger across it, you can just about tell where the edge of it is. Your fingers are so sensitive that if the world, the planet Earth, was the size of a ball, maybe like a football or a basketball, and you were to rub your fingers across the surface of it, apparently, though very difficult to test, your fingers are so sensitive that you should be able to tell all of the individual houses as bumps on your fingertips. So that kind of tells you how sensitive your fingers are. By running my finger across here, I can just feel the edge difference of this decal, which is really interesting. And I'm pretty comfortable with it being on there and set, although I haven't kind of sealed it in yet. So now it's time to go to the other side, man. And just like earlier, a layer of micro sole. Now I have, before the show went live, I have actually pre-dusted these guys down. You should definitely make sure that that your house is, or that your model is dust free, because your house could be as dusty as mine, and if it is, stop it. Get the dust off your model. I don't know why I'm putting it all over the whole side here, I just felt like doing it, so that's on there now. Brush to the side. No, actually I'm going to use it to move this decal. Is it free from here yet? Come on now. Work with me. Let's get a bit more water in here. These are fast acting decals actually. They come away quite quickly. Some interesting paint flakes in there, which I thought I got rid of, but never mind. Okay, here we go. So on a bit wonky. Have a quick check on the image. It is in the same place. That's lovely. Should have done that before I started, but whatever. I want it a bit further over to the left hand side, and what I can do is I can check by just kind of rotating it and just seeing if they're roughly level, which I think they are. I'm actually using this line, this crease on the top of the turret as a bit of a guide. It's halfway across the 3 on this side, which means I suppose I want it halfway across the 1 on that side. So I'll just make sure that he's level, and I'll just give him a little bit of a shunt over, and that looks pretty good, doesn't it? And how many brush thicknesses is he from the top? Maybe 1.5? Yeah, about 1.5. I'd say he's pretty much there, really. Looks a bit more straighter than the other one. A bit more straighter, that's perfect English there, well done me. Okay, let's absorb a lot of this excess. That should help stop it moving around so much, but not really. Wash my brush off. And we're going to go straight in with some more Sol, Microsol. We're going to melt the surface down. You can see there's actually quite frostier colour. I bring it up close. I wonder if you can see. If I shine the light on it, see it's quite a frosty colour. It's quite opaque, really. Desperately trying to be careful not to touch the other side while it's not sealed in. I don't want any cheeky hidden damage coming up. I'd turn the turret over later on and go like, oh, look at that. Now what I can see, but you might not be able to see on the camera, is that there are some wrinkles in there, and the Sol is helping. Oh, is helping to iron that out. Behave yourself now. Cool, he wants to move around like this one. Don't do it, man. Oh, the nerves are on now. I'm going to get loads of Sol. Problem is it's starting to melt, so moving it around now is not very good. Let's get some water in there. I think I'm losing it. I think I'm losing the number. It doesn't want to move. I think it's on. That's a shame. What can you do, eh? What should I do? What should I do? Should I just keep it? Should I just keep it on there? Trying to smooth it in one direction, it's very difficult to get it to move now. I was hoping if I just keep on stroking up on one side or down on the other, I might get it to realign, but I think it is on. That's a pain, isn't it? Because it was going so well. Jeff says that the 9th SS Panzer Division were on the Eastern Front in Russia and then to Normandy in 44, fighting back through into Germany. Interesting. With wonky numbers. Come on, 301. Must be being quite aggressive now. Now, it don't want to go. It does not want to move. It is on there. I either take it off, take both off and start again, or I leave it. Come back to the numbers. Let's go to the Balkan Cross, or the Iron Cross, because that would be terrifying. If I've ruined those, oh my god, I'll have to hand paint them on, or just leave them entirely. Probably should have left it a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm going to move that over there so I can bring this into shot. So this has got to go here, right where there's this tool frame. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put it on, get it lined up along this edge here as best as possible, and then if it has to sit on these, then I'll just kind of push it in there with a bit of microsol, and then hopefully just chop it away. That's the plan. Okay, I'm just going to cut my crosses out. The cross has been cut out. It's now in the water. There we go. Okay. While I'm waiting for that to go, I'll have a bit of wine. Why not? Wine not. You're welcome. Okay. While that cross is melting away, a bit of microsol. This is going to be quite a tricky one because it's a bit of a weird angle for me. Just going to saturate this area in sol. Jeff says, if you're not going to be happy with it, take it off now and go with another. Yeah, I reckon I can scrub it off if I need to. I'll come back to it in a minute. It's on quite an angle. I'm not entirely happy with it. It's a shame because the other one went on all right. Just worked out where those little bits of scrappy paint are that are in my water, where the solution is where the decal is setting. It's the little numbers with the little circles around them. I've got a little number 9 just floating around in there. Go away. I don't want a little number 9 just appearing somewhere on my tank. That would be weird. Come on, little cross. Doesn't want to come out of the water. Two hours of Easy 8 decal show. I'm actually quite nervous about these ones. Come on, fella. Don't want to come out, do you? This one I might actually do with tweezers. There we go, starting to come off now. Can I do it with my fingertips, or do I need a pair of tweezers to get in there? Probably best to use tweezers, right? That wasn't so bad. Right, we can see that the edge goes right along the edge of the glacis there, which is the front sloping armour. That's lined up perfectly. The bottom is perfectly lined up on the skirt just here, but the crosset itself just wants to touch the edge of this tool frame here. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically now just going to get the water off my brush. I'm just going to push him down on here. Just make sure that he's on airtight, and then just going to dip the brush in some solvent and then just soak it in there. And what it should start doing with a lot of this, there's even like the old weld marks and stuff, like not weld marks but like blowtorch cutting marks along the side of the armour here, and eventually with enough of this product on this decal, it should really start conforming to all these shapes. And you should, I've done it on Zimmerit before, which is the anti-magnetic pattern that you get on a lot of lake water German tanks, and the pattern shows through. So I'm hoping that what's going to happen here is that the cross should start not folding in on itself. That would be disastrous, wouldn't it? So what I really wanted to do is stay where it is and open up on the other side. Can't quite see that, can you? Behave. Bit of water, perhaps. Oh, this is tough work. Okay, he's in place. Oh dear, that was tough. And you can see that there's a little bit of fold over the edge here, over that tool rack here, but I'm just going to let him dry because he really wants to move around. Just trying to iron him down. And I'm just going to leave it for a minute and then I'll come back to him. Oh dear, I've got a bit of a sweat on. Hard work. Right, let's come back to the turret again. Let's just see if adding a bit of water to this guy, even though he's probably quite dry now, wonder if I can agitate it enough to get him to move. If he's got to come off, he's going to be ruined anyway, so I might as well have a quick go, see what I can do, right? If it comes off, it comes off. No, unfortunately he's well and truly stuck on. I'll have a little go at scrubbing him off with a little bit of decal remover in a bit and see what happens. Nope, I ain't going anywhere. Even being quite aggressive with my fingertip there. I just got the edge to peel a little bit. Oh, I wonder. We will not be doing the 301. Okay, let's come back to that. Let's get another one of these bad boys off. Oh, because I haven't sweat enough already. Crikey. I think in the absence of 301 I might go 413 because I think the black would show up quite nicely against the colours. 302 might be lost a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. Sorry for ruining the other one after you chose it and all. Let's pop you over there. Get you in a bit of water. Lovely. Excuse me. Leslie says, you're doing an awesome job, dude. Loving how well you're doing with them. It's looking so cool. Thank you very much. need a little pick me up, a little pet talk. You're doing just fine, bro. Thanks. I think she's looking okay. Just a little bit of solvent over the top. Not doing anything traumatic here, just literally just touching it. And still it moves. Cray cray. Starting to get some of the pattern to come through now, which is nice. Lesson learned a little bit. It would have been better without this tool frame in the way. I wasn't going to put those on originally, but I thought actually the tools would necessarily be painted with the camouflage, but the frames might be. That's why I put those down. But actually, they're proven to be a bit of a pain in the backside. Just for a decal point of view. I still think that my decision stands. I think that the reason is a good reason. I'm actually going to hit that with a little bit of set just to be on the safe side because I don't trust it, basically. Okay, so wash that off the brush. Oh, we've been going for nearly an hour. Crazy. I'm actually going to use water to set the decal in rather than Sol because it allows me to move it a little bit easier. My past experience has been to use Sol rather than water, but it's perhaps better quality decals that I'm using now, or just perhaps my experience is just improving, or you know that I am getting better. As where in the past there was just something fluid, was just moving stuff around. Who knows? Okay, good to go, I think. is going to be a tough one. Left hand. I cannot do it left-handed, so trying to keep it in at the camera as well. It's also very awkward, but that's what happens when you have a YouTube show. Get over it. Not too shabby at all. A little bit off, but we can work with that. Stuck the brush a little bit there. I think there was actually less trauma involved on this one than there was on the other. Jeff says, if it comes to the worst, I've got some camo net here somewhere. Yeah, cheers. Thanks. There we go. That's all right, isn't it? Just gonna drop a little bit of solvent on it. And perhaps I'll just let it sit there for a minute. Okay, you can stay there. Cheers then. Right, let's come back to these ones. This is a real shame, but I think I'm going to have to scrub 301 off. So it's a great opportunity to give it a test though, isn't it? I've got a couple of scrubby brushes, got a dry brush here, which hopefully hasn't got any paint left in it, because that'll be a shame. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to saturate that decal in some set, because it says decal remover at the bottom. It's the first time I've really done this. I have had to remove them before, but not this well cured. So they were actually quite fresh and still quite wet, so yeah, removing it was quite easy. I don't know if I actually needed to have the chemical on it at all. Let's just... It doesn't even want to scrub. I'm trying to be gentle so that I don't ruin anything. I wonder what happens if I try to pick it with the edge of a blade or something. There it is. It's coming away. See you later, 301. Got some rubber brushes here as well. I wonder if these would be any good for it. It's like little silicone sculpting brushes. Might dip one of those in some, yeah, some salt, some set. Very good at making some squeaky sounds. I don't know if you can hear that on the live stream. It's well and truly stuck on. I suppose a good thing here is just to stay calm. Doesn't matter, does it? It's only a model. I wonder if maybe using a little bit of solvent, because that is supposed to melt them down, right? And even though it says that the other one is a decal remover, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. That's working much better. Let's keep going with this stuff. I mean, it's a shame, but what can you do? I mean, if it becomes really bad, what of course I can do is just repaint. It would be a shame, but it is an option obviously for me. I'm just trying all sorts of different things now, just see if I can get it to remove, but it's fighting with me. To be honest, I've never had a decal this temperamental. This side over here, I'm going to come back to that one there, because I could just have one number, couldn't I, just on one side, but I'll come back to that later on. There's no point in trying to do that on the show. I could just be cracking on with other bits and pieces like these crosses here, because I've still got another one to go, which is going to be on the back of the I think it's a fuel tank just over here. Could be a fuel tank, it could be equipment stowage, which is probably more than likely the case. This one here is still in place, that's good. And here I'm just going to drop some more solvent on here. And I'm literally just, again, I'm pushing straight down onto it to avoid any kind of sideways motion so it doesn't slip. Like that. Super slidey. Tank wants to fight me today. Okay. Where is the last cross? I got two of these one. Yeah. Jeff says, you ain't the first. Yeah, of course I'm not. I know that. I know. It would just been nice to have got it right first go, right? Right, let's pop that other cross down in the water there. And I'm just going to chuck a bit more water in on top. A sip of wine. That's a cheeky wine. I really want to get on and do some pin washing as well this evening, so what I might do, I'll have a little go during the break, see if I can remove that decal. If it's going to be a real problem, I can do it later on during the week, but I kind of want to get on and do some pin washing on here as well. So, got that last one there soaking in some water, as we seem to have learned. Get some water on here. Now there's actually a nice kind of detail surface here, these little kind of creases. Are they like reinforcing creases or something, or they're just kind of some sort of texture shape or whatever it is on the back of this panel that the cross is going to have to go on. I'm having a look at the picture now. It's going to go right across yeah, right across one of those lines. Right across is a cross. Chris says, okay, I'm here. What did I miss? Ket says, everything. Brilliant. That's a wrap. Thanks for the show. Cheers then. Bye. Just kidding. Just kidding. You've missed me messing up some serious numberage, Chris. On this side of the turret, here's a really nice crisp number. On the other side, what is that? Yeah, I ruined it, so I've got to come back to that later on. But right now, putting on some crosses on the front, and there's one going to go on the back just over here now. So I'm literally just waiting for this decal to do its thing. Process in the water, little water slide. And then I'm going to pop him just here. Chris says, no. It happens, man. I've had some sweat-inducing decals in my time, but nothing like that. That was once it stuck, and that was it. But it's these crosses that I really want to get right. Just waiting for this cross to. Here he goes. Here it is. Let's go in. Actually, I think I'm going to turn the tank upside down. You might not be able to see very well for a minute, but obviously I want to get this right, so bear with me while you can't see. So sorry. All I'm doing is just scraping it off. Sliding. We are off the card, it just needs a little bit of lining up. This bit I can show you. Here we are. Just going to get that excess moisture away. I'm holding the paintbrush in my mouth, that's really professional. And then dab it dry like that. And now microsol on the top without moving it, please. Tricksy little thing, aren't you? You know, that's how it always wants to move in one direction but never back again. What's going on here? Jeff says you could do a shell hit or two on the bad side of the turret. Yeah, I could do. I wanted to keep it relatively clean though, so I'm going to have a go at trying to tidy it up. But it is an option. And it's always worth having an option. Come on. This is the most stressful thing in the whole world. First world problems, right? Okay, it's in place. Well, I thought I was hoping for a nice easy evening today, but clearly not. Well, cut, go to add break. Jeez, Louise, that was difficult. Yeah, cray. Still going to see if I can fix up this turret here. Got a lot of work perhaps to do on it. It has actually removed a little bit of paint colour on there as well, so that's flipping brilliant. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can have a little scrub at that. But while we have this intermission for 10 minutes, here's some jazz that you can chill out with and not have to watch me stress and have a heart attack. See you in 10. Go change paint water. Hello, welcome back. Did you go change your paint water? I did. Clean water, see, proof. I didn't. It's just clean. So I've got the crosses on. We got there. Put a bit more sol on them to help melt them around the thing, especially the one on the back. It moved because it had to, but it's in the right place. It's looking good. Unfortunately, with the turret, that's a shame. It's going to be a repaint because nothing was really working on it. Put a bit of alcohol, see if I can loosen it up, and it's ruined the paint job on there entirely. We'll show you that in a second, despite how embarrassed I am about it. But it happens, I suppose. Sometimes you gotta go back and start again. But hopefully it shouldn't take very long. It's just one tiny little bit. Repaint it. I'll paint both sides, get rid of 301 on both sides, and just slap a new symbol down on it. And then hopefully steady hands gets there. But right now, looking at using, let's go to the workbench. Let's stop hanging around. Here we go, so the workbench. I'm going to use AK Interactive's enamel wash for German vehicles in dark yellow. This has a dark yellow base. Yeah, so I'm just giving it a bit of a mix up on my little vortex mixer. Been doing that for a minute, but these ones have got quite a lot of sediment in them, a lot of pigment that kind of settles. And I reckon these products themselves are the main reason why I got that little doofer. And here it is. Yeah, all mixed up and hopefully ready to rock and roll. So what I need to do is get some white spirit. Unfortunately, my white spirit is a little bit dirty, but that's not going to matter too much because it's the same sort of colour anyway. Oh, that's quite a pungent smell. And yeah, basically I need to just put it on an area, and then the white spirit that is, and then I just ever so slightly drop a little bit of this colour into it, and it should, with capillary action aided by the white spirit, should just kind of run into all of the little nooks and crannies and etc. I am just trying to find a decent flat brush. Here's a flat brush ish. That's got not too much of a body to it, so it's not going to absorb masses and masses. So I want to, probably going to start on the top part of the hull over here because it's nice and easy. Now, the experts tell me to not saturate the area completely, but you should have a thin line or a thin coating of it, and then you go over and do your line. I'm not going to do like coat the whole top of the armor because this stuff evaporates obviously quite quickly, so I'm just going to do a bit at a time. So I'm going to use my expensive Kalinsky brush for this one, and I am going to use its really fine point. Picked up a bit too much there, and hopefully just drop it in and I should get a nice line, and I do. And because it's enamel based, it's very easy to clean up. Unfortunately, this brush is swelling quite a bit with the amount of enamel that's going into it, so I'm not getting a fine point that I hoped for. Actually, could just straight up do with a bit more white spirit in there, so I'm going to get a larger belly brush, my Army Painter one here, and then just put a bit more white spirit in there. This, I've always had troubles trying to get this right. I think for the most part it's just kind of get it down and then neaten it up. And I'm okay with that. It would be nicer if it would go in better. Well, I didn't have to neaten it up afterwards, but whatevs. It is what it is, right? I've got to neaten it up afterwards. I've got to neaten it up afterwards. Looks like I'm going to have to do quite a bit of neatening up here. I suppose there's a little bit of frustration at play after dealing with those decals. I'm probably unnecessarily rushing it, perhaps. But again, whatever. I do have White Spirit and Thinner. I've had more luck with the Thinner on some cases, and I've had more luck with the White Spirit on others, and I think that's just me being a bit of a novice and not really being all that good just yet. That bit does move, that's very handy. Okay. See, I can just run this White Spirit just around the edges here where I've got all of this mess, and it just cleans it up straight away. So working with enamels has that benefit. It's why the oil fans are coming back. Enamels and oils. So if you're working with a spirit-based paint, it's so easy to work with, so much cleaner. So now I've kind of got all of these colours in here. I'm just going to go around and neaten it up a little bit. But then I might try with a bit of thinner, just to see what the difference is and see how well that goes. So if I just try and making sure I'm not putting my hands down on top of any decals after all of that nightmare-inducing work a minute ago. Actually, really quite satisfying using Spirit to clean up enamel overspill. Now I have done this before with other models, obviously, and I've left the kind of cleaning up stage till a little bit later. My advice is don't leave it too late, because even though thinners will reactivate enamel-based paints, it always leaves a little bit of a stain, which is, yeah, it doesn't look so great. It's quite hard to see, but it is noticeable. So my advice is do a bit at a time, and then do clean up at the same time as you go. Now these little lines and things here on these armor plates where these hatches sit, the lines here are actually a lot thinner than they are elsewhere on the rest of the body. Actually quite broad lines. So these bits here are actually quite difficult to get that paint into, so I'm not too disheartened by the fact that it's quite messy work at the moment. It is what it is. It's one of my favourite sayings. It really is what it is. If it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. Don't get upset about it. Just throw your brush all over the floor. Goodness me. I'll just clean that up. It was only so long before I had an accident on the live on the stream. Just thank God so far it hasn't been with something like red wine or like a whole pot of paint or something. because it will be all over the internet. But it'll be likes, right? Oh, I could just break the gun off the front of my tank. That's okay. It's actually not snapped. It's just fallen out. We'll go back in and fix that later on as well. All the things are happening today. All the dramas. It's like an episode of Hollyoaks. Not that I would know, because it's rubbish, that show. Any of my non-British viewers there, go check it out on YouTube. It's a great show. You're gonna love it. This is the grind of the paint job that I was mentioning earlier. This is slow going at best. But combined with a good grime up later on will really give the tank a lot of character and a lot of points of interest and, you know, just visual things. Just stuff. Just do it. Just pin wash your tanks, man. Or don't. Do as you like. Just don't break the guns off of your tank and don't mess up your decals, right? A lot of the areas that I'm painting here, I'm hoping, because they're still quite messy, and I've not been that neat, I'm hoping that when I put the grime effects and stuff on later on, that a lot of my mess will just be hidden. But now that whole area, if I bring out the shine of light, this whole panel here is like an armoured section that has the hatches put in, stands out now, as where earlier on it didn't. So yay for me. I'm just going to wash my brush out of all that white spirit, and I'm just going to move over to odorless thinner just to see what sort of a difference this makes in terms of helping me with capillary action, moving my paint around on the tank, because I get mixed results with both. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this whole line. If I bring it up, you can see it, there's a groove all the way down here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of thinner over that and see if there's any different. Now, because I'm still quite a novice, like I say, I get mixed results working with thinner and with spirit. In some cases I've had more luck with the spirit than I have with the thinner, and other cases vice versa. But all of the pro shows out there seem to use thinner for this job, and it makes a lot of sense, I suppose. Here we go. I'll get rid of that cat hair because it's not an easy 8 show without a cat hair. There we are. It's already working better. But actually, the colour itself in the pot is a little bit thinner. Maybe I over-mixed it. Maybe it was too full of its own of its own pigment, and this line is wider than the ones I was just working on. But that's going in really quite neatly. I'm very happy with that. I needed a little bit of a win this evening. Quite defeated with that attempt just earlier with the decals. I can see that Leslie's put in a comment. Leslie says, "It's still looking good, dude. Still think you're doing what you're doing looks awesome." Thanks, pal. Thanks for fighting my corner. Okay, well, in which case I'm gonna ditch the spirits for now, and I'm gonna stay with thinner because I think it's probably going to be better. And just bit by bit, right? So if I drop some thinner in here, don't know if I'm actually in shot. I'm now looking at the sort of plates around the engine here. If I bring this line up, you can now see that's very well defined. It's being played out by the studio lights a little bit, admittedly. I think the paint is a bit of a shake because it is almost just like water right now. I actually just used the wrong pot lid for it, so I now have two lids. I'm making all the mistakes today. Not the first time I've done that. That's why I have a slightly dirty turpentine or a dirty white spirit, but hey. Well done, dude. Well done. You gotta get some things wrong, right? You can tell I'm not well. Can't stop the hobby. Gotta keep going. This is one of my arguments to myself before starting the whole show, that, you know, over a year ago now. But I'm not that good. Who am I to be doing a show showing what I'm doing when I'm not that good? Well, sometimes there are people out there who need to see that. You don't have to be good to enjoy what you do. And that's fine, right? In fact, I think that's needed. I'm learning. I'm not great. I'm having fun. That's all that matters. Get some paint down on your miniatures and have some fun. I think I've actually got a bit too much thinner in this area here. It's almost like it's pushing the colour around a little bit too much, and I'm struggling to get it in frame actually. But yeah, so you can see this end over here. Yeah, struggling to kind of get it to go exactly where I want. I think it's just because it's a bit too much thinner. But what I can do is just mop up all the bad stuff and then just kind of push it back to where I want it to go. It's like not staying in the lines and then using a rubber to push it back into the lines. Excellent. Okay, again a bit more thinner now, and I'm going to work my way along this panel here. Okay. Nonsense, I think you're definitely good enough to be doing this live show. Thanks, man. You carry on like that and you'll have to have shares or something. There are no shares available for the show, but yeah. I'm sure there's a cat hair in there again. It's like, come on, cat. If you could just stop dropping hairs in all of my stuff, that'd be fantastic. Thanks. More thin lines again. Quite difficult to deal with those ones, so it's quite a mess there. You can see just kind of all over the place. But it's alright because I know that I can clean it up again in a minute, as long as I can fill that line. A little bit of overspill here is okay anyway, because there's a lot of like little rivet holes and things, which I'm quite happy to overfill these lines and get a bit of overspill in there. That's fine as far as I'm concerned. A little bit of detail around the top of these little air filters. There's lots of air filters and stuff around here because this is where the engine is, and there were problems with them completely and utterly infumigating and intoxicating the crew, which is absolutely what you want. I don't think it is what you want. Having way more luck with the thinner today than I am the spirit, which is fine because it smells better anyway. Even though all of my stuff is odorless, it still has a slight parfum quality to it. Odor de hobby. And this effect anyway should be quite subtle. I just like mine to be a little bit more stark, and that's probably because I'm quite novice. Don't care what you say, Leslie, thank you. Because I'm quite novice, I am not quite refined in the skill of it all yet. So for me, having it all quite bold and brazen as an effect is, I'm okay with it. But I recognise that as well. Like that is something that I'm fairly sure is the case, because I'm not quite so used to it. It's difficult to see it. If that at all makes any sense. Some nice definition coming out there. I'm now going to move over to the other side of the engine panel things. Make sure I get some thinner in there. I'm going to run down the back here where these rivets are. There's another little line down there as well, a little panel line. Something I have noticed as well with these models is that's not just it's not just where the model is actually put together, Tamiya have thought about it very well, and they've put the model together in the same way that the tank was put together. So a lot of these lines, if not all of these lines, are actually true and present on the real thing, which, though might sound quite obvious, for me, going and seeing the real thing at the museum was actually quite an eye-opener into how accurate and precise these models really are. Whether every brand is the same or not, I don't know. It's the first big build like this I've done. See, there's some other comments going in. Jeff says there's plenty of pros out there showing you expert ways and need a little more down-to-earth things like this. Kethin says, I agree with that. Thanks, guys. Today is Easy 8 Poorly Club, though. There's probably dozens of pros out there. If they catch wind of tonight's show, they'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this in poorly? Why have you ruined your decals? Why have you knocked your machine gun off? Well, you know, excuse me, it's not COVID. Awesome capillary action working very well there. Oh, that's good. I like it when it works. You know, you've got just the right amount of everything on. That's good. Put a little dollop in there. Yep, in these little rivet holes. That's all good. Lovely. I can neaten all that up in a minute. There's another narrow line at the back here as well. Let's get some brown juice in there too. This little bit here, I don't know if you can see very well, you can't at all. This little piece here, this isn't a part of the air filter. This is actually a part of the the base of the antenna, which is something I've undecided if I'm going to do yet. I probably will have a go at actually making it. They haven't supplied an antenna with part of the model, and I think this actually harks back to days of old doing antennas in the day. I say in the day. Years ago, when model making was in its infancy, people would often make antennas by melting a piece of sprue down. There's actually instructions in this kit on how to melt sprue down to create antenna by basically heating it up over a flame, pulling it, stretching it, and you get a nice length of antenna. I'm quite keen to have a go. Of course, I'm quite keen to not get it wrong. So there's an apprehension I think there that is preventing me from saying yes, I'm going to do this, but I'm probably going to give it a go. I don't like having lots of thin or narrow overly slender appendages to my models when it comes to war games, but of course this isn't necessarily a war games piece, is it? This is a have fun, build a replica 35 times smaller than its real counterpart, so I probably will have a good old go, but it is a reason for me to not throw out my sprues too early. Just making sure that I've got all of the areas here with this colour. I think I'm losing pigmentation again here. Leslie says, makes perfect sense, dude. Even if there were shares, I wouldn't take them. Just saying the truth, dude. You are definitely good enough to be doing this, and being ill really does affect everything. Cheers, man. I was only joking anyway. If there were shares, help yourself. How many shares should there be? 8. You know, easy. Do you remember when I first got this Raphael Kalinsky brush and I was really nervous about just putting paint on it? Here I am just chucking it straight into enamels, right up to the top. Long gone are those days of nerves about what I do with my brushes. Just use them right, look after them and clean them out right. Some lines don't want to show up at all. Others don't have a problem with it whatsoever. Fascinating. Also incredibly frustrating. Do as you're told, paint. Okay, so now I've got the turret ring all the way around. There's a slight circle that goes all the way around there. If I bring it up to the camera, you can see it. I want that to be highlighted. I don't really know why. Because I think for the most part, it's a hidden thing, it's a hidden feature. Like when the turret is on there, you don't really get to see it. But I'm just kind of drawn to it, so I'm gonna. Bit of thinner on there, nice and saturated. Going on very heavy here, but I'm kind of lacking a little bit of patience, probably because I know I've got to go back and do the paintwork on the turret again. But as long as I'm aware of it and don't ruin it, like I can go over now and neaten all that up, and at least I've got some definition in the turret ring. There are some areas over here that aren't defined, like I've lost a little bit of definition over there, so I'm just going to go and drop in a few dots here and there. And now, while that's kind of setting a little bit, I'm going to go to this bit and tidy up that I've just done over here. So it's just about finding little areas that are a little bit messy and just gently going in and cleaning them up. I don't want any coffee stains, even though really it doesn't matter, because I say I'm going to do grime effects on it anyway. I suppose it's just kind of good housekeeping, isn't it, really? Is keep it tidy, because you don't know if it's going to show through or not, and it might be a defining factor for how the model looks in its finished state. I don't want to take any kind of chances with laziness. I know the model's been sitting around for a long time, but that doesn't mean I should suddenly drop my standards, if that makes sense. You only get better with patience and practice. Another thing with neatening up all the edges is it does stop it all from blurring into one. With neatened edges means it gives you better definition, which means that the contrast is better seen. And because the areas that you've got this definition in are so small that the contrast isn't overwhelming, which is a good thing. It means that it just keeps itself to itself and it just defines all those little areas. And I know that just sounds like a load of words, but actually there's a lot of sense in that. That is something I put a lot of thought into explaining. It means that when you're looking at something and you go, is that a bowl or is it just a dirty area? You go, oh, that's a dirty area. Jeff says, look after your brushes. Yeah, I do look after them quite a bit actually, especially when I've been using enamels or, you know, products that require spirit as a cleaner. But I know what you're like, and no, you can't have a go at my Klinsky brush. Would be a bit stained around the grills. Yeah, I'm going to use another product for that. I've got here Streaking Grime, which is a completely different pigment entirely. Yeah, it's basically around this area. It is going to be proper grotty. But at this scale, it's quite important to keep your colours appropriate. So having a little bit of overspill from this colour is fine, for sure. But you want to make sure that, because this is essentially a dark yellow colour, it just says it's a wash for dark yellow. It is essentially a brown. But I want it to be basically an eyeliner. I don't want it to be a definitive colour. A little bit of overspill here and there is okay though, because it will just add to that griminess. It's going to be more relevant if you're painting Panzer Grey, because the colour for pin washing on Panzer Grey is a blue colour, which obviously wouldn't work very well for griminess. You'd be like, why have you got all this blue ink everywhere? I just have, man. I like ink. Did you break a box of biros on your tank? I sure did. And that, of course, is now looking much, much tidier. And for some reason, I'm going to do this bit as well. And this bit you'll never see. But, you know what? Good habits. Bit of practice as well, right? There we go. Okay, so now I've got some definition. You can actually see all the components at the back there. I can see that on the camera. That's really good, right? Now I've got this line down the side over here. So if I was to bring it into shot this way, you can't really see a line on the top side there, but on this side you can. Maybe if I was to bring it in a bit closer, you can see a line going down there, but not so much on this side. So we get a little bit of thinner, and I'm going to run it down here. Okay, back to the colour in the brush. What I'm going to do, just because it's you, I'll zoom in a little bit. But we are pretty much at the end of the show, so while I'm doing that, we'll bring up a little graphic that says, hey, we're ending. We're pretty much there, but it doesn't really matter, does it? If I get my zoom in, might be a little bit easier for you to see. Jeff says, starting to stand out now. Driver and co-driver hatches stand out now. Yeah, they're so tight a fit within that kind of armour section that it's actually quite difficult to see them at all. Like, yeah, you know they're obviously there, but they've required quite a lot of attention with this stain, this wash colour, just to kind of really identify them. But they are there, promise. And this whole process just takes a long time, and it's just gentle touching with the colour, and then you know, going around and cleaning it all up. But it's so worth it at the end. I've done quite a lot of 28mm models with it. I've done quite a few 15mm models, and it's a totally different ball game for sure. But it really just adds such a dimension, like a before and after. It's incredible, and you'll see it with this. I'll put up a little picture of this later on Facebook, as I always do, and you compare it with previous pictures that I've got on there, and it'll make a hell of a difference. So if you're ever doing any kind of project that's similar and you're thinking, should I? Yeah, absolutely. And this is the same as, you know, the common war games thing, which is, you know, just not slap necessarily a wash over it. You can do like a sludge wash. We've spoken about that before. Oh, Chris, your frame is still in shot here. Look. Ah, it's like nostalgia. Bye. You can do a sludge wash and like affect the whole thing. That's basically shading, pin washing, griming, all in the same go. It's a filter. It's an aggressive filter, and you could do that with this if you wanted to, but it's not a realistic approach. I know I've done color modulation, and I know I've spoken about it not being realistic, but I'm kind of like meeting somewhere in the middle between those two worlds, using a little bit of unrealistic techniques to add a little bit of flavor to a realistic display, or at least learning. And that is the top panel done. It's taken a long time to do that, but it will be worth it. And yeah, these little crosses, they're still in place, thank goodness, thank goodness. One on the back here, very troublesome, very troublesome. But we are pretty much at the end of the show. There's been some serious trauma involved in tonight's show. This side over here is standing out a little bit stronger than the side over here, so I might go back over this one, and if I just go over with a little bit of thinner, it's actually just reactivated it all in there, so it might stand out perhaps. I'll just have a quick run down the side here. Just a little bit of this colour. There we go. Just realised that because I've zoomed in, I'm now out of shot. Really sorry about that. Nice and tidy little effects here. Just a little bit. It's not designed to be like standing out, you know, apocalyptic contrast or anything. Just there to show a little bit of detail, just poking out a little bit, show you where some of the bolts are, show you where some of the hatches are and things. Another little cat hair there, let's get rid of that. And if I'm feeling better tomorrow morning, I'll be back in the studio just finishing this off, so that this is another part of the whole project that I don't have to visit again, on the live stream, because I understand that it's not the most exciting thing to watch, though it is an important part of the process. Let's move on with our lives. So if I'm feeling better, which I hope I am, I'll crack back on with that, and we can move on to the next exciting process, which is griming. And also I'll be preparing the all of the all of the extra tools and things like that. So that will be exciting, and there's some extra track pieces to put on there. So have a look at the bits and pieces I've got. So yeah, I've got some additional track pieces here. There's loads of it. Loads, and they basically go on these clips down the side here as spares, but they will use as a little bit of armor on the back there. That's cool. And then there's some tools. And I've also got a couple of dudes, which I'm not overly enamored about. I don't really want to have dudes on here, but yeah, whatever. I just want the tank, really. Anyway, let's come away from here. What a night of disasters. Look at the side of the turret. So distressing. So distressing. So, yeah, lessons learned. Put water down rather than microsol on your models. So put decals down, because otherwise they grab and then they set and they want to sit in different positions, and it's very awkward. Anyway, it's been fun to get back into it after a few days of feeling really poorly and not wanting to move out of the chair upstairs. As far as next week is concerned, I'm looking to run the show as normal, but obviously, as I've mentioned in the past, my housemate is moving, and the internet with him, and that is absolutely okay. We are planning here to get internet back up and running in the house with as very little disruption as possible, but there is every possibility that we may be without internet in this property for a period of time during that transfer. If that happens, I will communicate with you regularly on Facebook, so make sure that you head on over there, that you like the Facebook thing, that you follow us over there so that you get all the updates as it's going, and I won't leave you in the dark. I will make sure that I have a presence. Maybe I'll just be doing a little bit of painting, and I'll do little live video clips and stuff using my phone and my data on there, if that is the case. And I will let you know what happens with the internet in this house so that we can provide a show or not. But you will always know and not leave you standing in the dark. I want to make sure as much as possible that we are going to have a show for you next week. But, that's next week's problem. Not right now, though. It's been an interesting night. It's been a good night. I hope you guys have had fun watching me mess up. I would love to see your projects and hear all about them, so do take photographs of all of your stuff. Make sure that you put them up there on the community tab of Facebook. Actually, it's changed now. You don't have to put it up on the community tab. You can just do it on the front page, and it automatically goes to the community tab and gathers all your stuff separately. Wonderful modern technology there. Leslie, I hope the music's gone really well, mate. Looking forward to being able to hear some, if that's ever going to be something that we might be able to do. Maybe you can make some music for the show. That'd be cool. Anyway, no matter what you've been doing this evening, I hope you had a good time. I hope it's been productive. Do let us know how everything has gone, because we want to know about it. And if you are so inclined, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and here on YouTube. Like, follow, share, and subscribe, please, because it really helps me make this show bigger and better, and that would be wonderful. Anyway, until next week, I've been Danny. You guys have been awesome, and thanks for joining me on this random Saturday evening, and I hope you guys have a cracking week, and I'll see you next time. Until then, be safe, be kind, and keep on painting, and I'll see you next week. Cheers now, take care, bye bye. Wow, this music's sinister. To remove the decals. More wine. Give me some more wine!